the Karen trailer. So, Karen is some movie produced by BET, Black Entertainment Television, about a racist white woman reaction to a black person going into a community. It doesn't look like a spectacularly good movie, but nothing that would particularly make me angry, other than it doesn't look that good. But apparently, this was a wider statement, and the left's evil mechanisms working again. Because apparently, racism shouldn't be considered as a horror topic for the black community, who the majority of their horrors that they've experienced in this country have been because of racism and the echoes from slavery. And of course, slavery itself. But let's watch this trailer quick and then see Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro's amazing commentary about it.
I guess this is a long way from East Point.
Baby, you just gotta give it a chance.
Tell me about your new neighbors.
They're black.
Do you mind keeping it down? If you don't comply, I'll tell the manager.
Somebody's taking home security serious.
Hi, I am Karen.
The thing for me about this movie is it's way too direct. You know, it's like a really bad it's way too on the nose, right? It'd be like if I was doing like a movie about like Trump, and like Trump just came out and said, I don't like Mexican people and minority groups, and I love to do sexual assaults. A little too on the nose. Like no finesse here whatsoever. We're not just okay, great, wonderful. Orange Man Bad, the movie, exactly, yeah.
Drexler, I'm your neighbor. You need to be taking your trash cans off the curb right when the trash is picked up.
Is she nice?
Yeah, she's nice.
Wait a minute. We have a white entitled neighbor named Karen.
Karen, hey, enjoy yourself.
There she is, slaving away in the kitchen. I've come across some very suspecting teenagers.
Suspecting?
Can you please hurry up? Please, they're very aggressive, yep.
I left my wallet with my ID at home. Leave us alone, we didn't do anything!
How the heck did you end up moving to this neighborhood? Next thing you know, we have criminals. You take care of him, and I will take care of her.
Would you mind stepping out of the car?
My office has uncovered some disturbing information on her and her brother.
She doesn't like black people.
We have a search warrant.
Well, I'm black.
I know, she doesn't like you either.
I want to sell the house.
What'd I do? You can't tell me, huh?
We are living next door to...
This is really terrible. This is just a bad movie trailer. It's way too on the nose. It feels like there's no subtlety whatsoever. And I also feel like she should be blonde. That's a good point, Polar. I feel like she should be blonde.
A racist. You went in her house?
You wouldn't want your wife to know our little secret, right?
I was not standing, please.
Anyway, it's not a good trailer. That's what I'm trying to get at. But that's really it for me. That's the only reaction I had to it. It's a shit trailer. Probably won't be a good movie. That's the only reaction I had. Michael Knowles had a lot more to say about the Karen trailer, and I'm very interested to see what it is.
I'm Karen Drexler. I'm your neighbor.
She doesn't like black people.
Well, I'm black.
She doesn't like you either.
Karen! Ah! This doesn't look great. There's a new movie coming out. It looks really bad. I don't want to judge a movie by its trailer, because I haven't obviously seen the movie yet. And the movie, well, take a listen. I don't want to color your view. Is that a politically incorrect term? Am I allowed to use that word anymore?
Come on.
Listen to the movie
Jesus.
Karen.
Hey, Gappy. Maryland flag fans, Omega Lol, look. Gappy, I know what you really want to do is take out the L of flag and call me that. Why don't you just do that, Gappy, okay? Be true to yourself. Remember when you added me with a fruitcake right after learning that fruitcake was a slur for gay people. Just wanted to throw that out there. You remember that, Gappy? And now you attack the state I was born and raised in. It's actually false. That is true. That is true. That is 100% true. What do you mean? You did do it. He learned what a fruitcake is, and for some reason, oh yeah, you tweeted a fruitcake. You learned that a fruitcake was a slur for gay people. Then immediately after learning that fruitcake was a slur for gay people, you decided to tweet it out. He decided to tweet it out. Polar World was there. He can attest to it. Can you join Polar? I need you to join the server right now. I need you to come on here and tell the truth about Gappy and who he is. I need you to testify. Polar, hello.
Polars.world testify that Gappy said extremely homophobic statements.
Wow.
On the day of that one stupid spy. It was a good spy game. Okay. He called Dylan a fruitcake. He instigated. Okay. He showed his true colors. Oh, and he's here.
Gappy V, am here to say that Polar is being a fucking little bitch right now.
Wow.
I definitely did not fucking say any fucking homophobic
So wait.
statements.
You
towards
don't only
Dylan
have a
at the
thing
moment.
against the gay community. You have a thing against the black community as well?
Oh, so I am as a person of color, I'm not allowed to, say my voice. You think that you have an issue with the AAPI community? People like myself?
Are you trying to equivocate the experience of black Americans with other people and the people of color?
It seems pretty interesting that you as the white individual in this call is making those statements, right? Don't you know that as a white individual, you're literally not allowed to have an opinion at all, dude?
Okay? I'm trying to be an ally to my black friend, that's all.
Gappy, aren't you only in here because you were accused of being homophobic? Okay, this is
So
not
you
a
know
good
that.
look
Maybe
for
I
you,
wanted to
Gappy.
come here and say hi to one of my favorite Twitch political streamers, Dylan Burns. Okay.
Why am I your favorite, not the black man?
I don't come into your chat, Polar's World, or I don't come into your voice.
Yeah.
call.
Why am I? Why am I not your favorite? Is it because I'm black?
No.
Uh oh.
What? Yeah. Oh, you got destroyed in the marketplace of ideas, dude.
Gappy, okay. This is all I need you to do. If you're not homophobic, just say you're not homophobic.
Oh my god, he can't say it, Dylan. He refuses to.
Wow.
What the fuck? Wow. Oh my god.
You did Discord.
Wow, why wouldn't you say it?
You fucking bitch muting me in Discord. I am not
didn't mute you.
homophobic.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You,
I don't know
this
what you're
guy's-
talking about.
Wow.
This is disgusting.
All I'll say is that we checked the logs. I think everything will be there. And I think it's still, regardless, it's still confirmed that Polar's being a little bitch right now.
If it wasn't
okay?
homophobic in any
The
way when you
only
tweeted out,
black
wait.
person
If it wasn't homophobic when you tweeted out the fruitcake, why'd you delete it?
Wait, you cut out for a second.
If it wasn't homophobic when you tweeted out the fruitcake, why did you delete it?
Delete what?
The fruitcake tweet.
Uh-oh. Gap, wait, Gappy,
tweet?
I linked you, I linked
Fruitcake
you
tweet,
something
what do
in
you
chat
mean?
that may help you out.
What tweet? I don't
I
see
linked you
anything.
something in chat.
What? Oh, he's denying it. He's denying the tweet's existence.
Looks like your chat's turning on you guys. I think
He's-
Dylan's homophobic. Ooh.
Oh, are you turning on it
Could be an
completely?
Uno reverse card scenario.
Wait, you're not answering my question. Stop answering the question. Why'd you delete the tweet?
What tweet?
The fruitcake tweet, when you tweeted out fruitcake.
I don't know what you're referring to.
You don't know what you're referring to?
You did tweet out a fruitcake.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what you're referring to.
You did tweet out a fruitcake.
Oh, no.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see the tweet, but I don't see
Well, you
anything at the
deleted
moment.
it. This is like no
Deleted
comment
it,
check.
Gappy.
This is like I deleted the
No.
bot. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, I want to announce
Did you
here
see-
right now that
he
I,
did it
Gappy
again
am
today.
officially joining the no comment chick cross complaint. We will
I
do
don't
a
know.
class
I don't know if
action
you want
lawsuit.
to do that anymore.
I'm
I don't know.
suing
I don't know if you
Oh.
want to make that meme anymore.
You don't wanna do that.
I don't think it-
I'm going to, in no pixel Grand Theft Auto RP, sue Dylan Burns for $5 because he emotionally scarred me
I
when
don't
he
think-
when
did
he
you
muted me
get
on
the update?
Discord.
Did you hear the update?
No, I didn't.
She decided, due to the whole like JF Vosh thing, she decided to go after my stay in a mental institution.
Oh my god.
She was like, "Oh, so
Wow.
now everybody's supposed to care about Dylan's mental health." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" Like, oh my god.
Look, all I'll
That's
say about no
something.
comment chick is
I can't wait for the
you know,
Tree of Logic no comment chick collab. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great collab.
all I can say about it is that they play the Persona 5 dancing game, and I think that says enough about opinions. Okay, you play any of the Persona dancing games. I don't know what to say, buddy.
That's a good opinion. That's a good opinion right there.
Okay, have fun with your movie reaction. What is this? Noe's react to Karen movie trailer.
Yeah, the Karen movie. Have you seen the Karen movie, Charlie?
No, I haven't.
It's a great movie. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a great comment on racism.
It's just a movie called Karen.
Yep, it's about a racist woman.
Yeah. Gang.
Pretty direct.
Written by
I gotta be
Coke
honest.
Daniels.
Listen, I'm about to expose myself real quick.
That's
For
what
like
he was
5
on
seconds,
when he wrote the movie.
I thought the Karen was attractive, and then I said no thanks. Listen.
Wait, you thought the person who you thought the character in this movie was attractive?
No, listen. For like the first 5 seconds.
Why?
For the first 5 seconds.
What?
For the first. Listen, I did not. I did.
Uh-oh.
You see how this guy on screen right now, Michael Knowles, is looking at you? That's how all of chat is looking at you. Michael Knowles
feels
is
pretty
even
weird, man.
When Michael Knowles is weird champing you live, I think you've gone a little too far.
Hey, wait a minute, Dylan. I have a question for you. Okay, do you claim to be anti-racist? Correct?
Yes.
Didn't you demod your only black mod?
Who was that?
That was me.
Are you my only black mod?
No, I used to be.
Oh, so you're not anymore. So it doesn't actually have anything.
Are you trying to
do with
remove
that.
other people's black experience?
No.
I mean, this is what it sounded like. You said you were the only black mod.
I used to be, okay? And you know what I did? I remember exactly what I said. I was in chat one day. I came and I said, Dylan Burns is a racist. I don't remember what I was responding to, though.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like Polars is actually upset because he wants to create an authoritarian regime in this chat room. He wants to control what you guys are saying.
Joe Lewis has been a mod way before you were.
I'm sorry.
I had no knowledge of that.
Oh, yeah, you didn't?
Oh, seems like you conveniently forgot about that. You were too focused on the fucking Karen to focus on,
He was too far. He was too focused on Karen's assets.
Too focused No, she's okay. Listen, okay. I've changed.
You were looking at Karen and you were like, "You can go."
You haven't changed, buddy. Okay, you lost the debate.
Rehabilitated.
One in chat of Polars have lost the debate.
I don't lose.
Wait, do you want that Karen to speak to your manager? Okay, we're done.
Okay, good luck with the reaction.
Oh my god, he said it to a minor, chat.
Hey,
I'm 17.
Polar. That's a little too far. Let's back up.
Okay. Enjoy whatever this guy's about to say about the Karen movie made by Coke himself.
Yeah, I think the dude was on Coke. I think that's the thing.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
yeah.
Have fun, buddy.
It's crazy. Okay, see you, Dylan.
See you, Polar. Look, I already have enough righties just throwing the word pedophile at me for being gay. I don't want to even joke with that one. Okay.
Tell me about your new neighbors.
They're black.
Do you mind keeping it down?
If you don't comply, I'll tell the manager.
Somebody's taking home security serious.
Hi, I am Karen Drexler. I'm your neighbor. You need to be taking your trash cans off the curb right when the trash is picked up.
Is she nice?
Yeah, she's nice.
Wait a minute. We have a white entitled neighbor named Karen.
Karen, okay, enjoy yourself.
There she is, slaving away in the kitchen.
Oof.
I've come across some very suspecting teenagers.
Suspecting?
Can you please hurry up? Please, they're very aggressive. Yep.
I left my wallet with my ID at home. Leave us alone. We didn't do anything.
How the heck did you end up moving to this neighborhood? Next thing you know, we have criminals. You take care of him, and I will take care of her.
Would you mind stepping out of the car?
Look, the only objection you can have to this movie is that it just doesn't look good, right? It just doesn't. By the way, that racist woman is the woman who Polar was attracted to. I just want to be that clear to everybody. But there's nothing more to object to it besides that. Like, it's not like morally like corrupt or something because it's presenting racism as bad. Like, it just like that's it. I think like the premise could have been interesting. I think like the premise of like Get Out was something that was like a movie that was like a commentary on like I think like white liberalism, right? And about racism. And that was an amazing movie. It was great. So obviously it isn't impossible to have a movie of that ilk, like where racism is the ultimate horror bad guy, right? So it just probably is that the person who made this movie like didn't do a great job.
My office has uncovered some disturbing information on her and her brother.
She doesn't like black people.
We have a search warrant.
Well, I'm black.
I know, she doesn't like you either.
Karen! This doesn't look great. People are comparing this movie to Get Out. The difference, of course, is Get Out is a good movie, and this movie does not look very good.
Yeah,
Get Out is actually about this issue.
The real issue is the subtlety. Yeah, it's not subtle, right? When I watch a movie, I don't need to feel like they take the thing and they're banging me over the head with it, you know? Like, that's pointless. Like, oh, great, wonderful, racism's bad. Thank you for the message, okay? You need to be subtle with it.
Of assimilation and this fear that when you assimilate into a culture, you lose your soul, which is an interesting concept, and I thought it was a clever movie. This doesn't look like that. This movie uses a racial slur, which is Karen. Some people are...
Let's not say the K word out loud, okay? Not that K word, this K word. The other K word we're not saying ever. This K, we want to be respectful. Remember, it's Karen with an asterisk. When you say Karen, we need to put a little asterisk, so it's the K word from now on, okay? It's the K word.
Laughing at the idea that Karen is a racial slur. It is it's explicitly just a derogatory term for white women. So I'm using the term, I've used some slurs,
The thing is, it can be used in that manner, I assume, but the term Karen has been used mostly to talk about a certain type of entitled woman, right? Who's typically white, who goes and like bothers the manager or feels entitled to certain stuff, right? I think it would be honestly more sexist than racist. Like the idea, like there's not like a male term for like a male Karen, and there are certainly a lot of entitled people out there. It has nothing to do with like it. Like I don't even think it particularly is a racial component to it. I think if anything, you could make the best argument would be that it's sexist because there's not really like it's not a universal like standard. There's not a reverse, right? There's not like a Marvin, which is like the Karen of men. That doesn't exist.
I've just the other day, actually in my book, I use a slur for Italian Americans. Not because I'm yelling at, but just in the context of describing it. I use one for the Irish. I use one for Asian. I use a few. I use them to point out what these slurs are. Karen is a racial slur. There's no getting around it.
It's again, how is it a racial slur? Is there anything about that word that's particularly at white women? Like it's usually white blonde women. Or maybe there's something about whiteness that has bred a sense of entitlement. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the case. But I think that a black woman could be a Karen, right? A black woman. I need to speak to the manager. My one fry had one too many grains of salt. Like that's possible. There's nothing against saying that that can't happen. It's just usually when we look at these videos online, it isn't the case. It's usually a white woman. Most usually the white of the blonde variation. If anything, it would be sexist again because it's usually directed solely at women. It's describing behavior more than anything, but it's describing behavior of a woman. So that's why, if anything, it would be sexist because there's no male equivalent.
It's one that it's a mainstream one. It's one that.
See, this is an actual time where he can like call out. Like, this is actually this word I don't like because it's like, and he gets it wrong. He could have had something here. And he could have had something here like, this is actually sexist towards nice, respecting, God-fearing women or something like that. I don't know. Whatever the hell Michael Knowles wants to say. But he still messes it up. And he doesn't stick the landing and calls it racist. Why?
You're not really allowed to say
I've met black Karens. I live in Prince George's County. If I'm gonna meet a Karen, they're most likely black.
other slurs, and there's one slur obviously you can never say. They would never make a movie with that name. But the argument...
Well, probably because it'd be hard to advertise that. It made people pretty uncomfortable. But there have been a lot of books with that name. I think there is a book that's literally N-word book, and it's about the history of the word. I'm pretty sure.
Here is just preposterous. I think the reason that...
But Michael Knowles is very excited to go to the N-word movie. He really, really wants to go. He's like, oh, God, I can't believe they're not making that name of that movie.
Get Out rang true to people is because it's a legitimate fear. It is not just black people into a broader white culture, but any group of people into any broader culture. There is a legitimate fear of assimilation. Here, the claim being made is that white women are committing racist hate crimes against black people, that that's the defining epidemic of our country. And it's just...
Wait, what? When did the movie claim that it was the defining epidemic of the country? Wait, what? Was Texas Chainsaw Massacre's message that the defining epidemic of modern America is chainsaw-wielding maniacs who eat people and turn them into chili? Was that the defining, was that what it was declaring, that the modern American issue is chainsaw-wielding maniacs? Was the Candyman's message that the defining enemy of modern America is mystical, mythical, spiritual, black men with hooks in their arms, killing kids that he used to give candy to? Was the defining message of Chucky that killer dolls was the defining epidemic that America's facing? No. I mean, I do think that that racism is an epidemic that America's facing, but it isn't saying that the specific thing that America's defining epidemic is white women in particular being racist. Just the way no, that's not the message of the movie. I guess if there was any message of the movie at this point, it would just be like racism bad, which I think is a pretty unobjectable message. Not true. It just isn't happening. We talked about this a few weeks ago on the show. It isn't happening. There isn't white women being racist towards black people. I think that's undeniably happening. We have documented instances of this. Hate crimes, video footage. It's like a new scandal every month. When you look at the federal government's hate crime statistics, you can look at the racial breakdown of the offenders and... Wait, okay, so the claim was it isn't happening. And now the new claim is going to be it's not happening more than other groups. Okay. Number one, he is basing this tangent off of a thing the movie never claimed. And also... most of that movie wasn't hate crimes, by the way. A lot of it seemed to be, I guess, a commentary on the slight stuff. For example, she walks in, you're slaving away in the kitchen towards a black woman. The tie to slavery, pretty obvious there. The pushing over the garbage can isn't particularly like a modern hate crime we see a lot. The installation of the cameras, a lot of it is a commentary on like slight stuff. You could call them microaggressions, if you will. So he's basing this off of a premise that the movie never claimed. Then he makes a claim that it isn't happening. And now his new claim, based off a premise that the movie never asserted, is going to twist into, well, it doesn't happen as much as, I guess, maybe some people, not this movie, would claim to believe. Of the general population, 52.5% of hate crime perpetrators are white, and that includes Hispanics, because Hispanics have now been defined as white. So just very slightly over half of the offenders in hate crimes are white. 73% of Americans broadly, including Hispanics, who are now defined as white, are white. So relative to their percentage of the population, whites and Hispanics are very, very unlikely. Okay, not even a claim about white women, just white people in particular. Significantly less likely to be committing these hate crimes. How does he go from white people aren't committing hate crimes to, well, a majority of hate crimes are committed by white people, but percentage-wise, don't claim that this isn't happening. If you look at the percentage of hate crimes committed by black people, that percentage is 23.9%.
If you look at the percentage of the population total that is black, it's 13.4%. So I'm not making any claim that it's because of an intrinsic biological reason or something that whites and
nobody suggested you were. I don't know why you're so defensive right off the bat about that.
Hispanics are relatively less likely to commit hate crimes and black people are relatively more likely to commit hate crimes. I'm just telling you what the federal statistics are.
We all would have assumed it was sociological.
I'm not saying we should make a movie with some black racial slur about the way that hate crimes are really perpetrated.
Again, it's not a racial slur. Karen is not a racial slur. If anything, it would be sexist because it's something that's used against women
in this country. I'm not even saying the term hate crime it should be a common term. I think it's a ridiculous term.
What? Oh, God, man.
Because I don't think there are very many love crimes.
Dude, can't you just find anything else to preach against or like preach about like any other time? This has nothing to do with anything you're talking about. This movie is literally just saying, if you were to take any political message from this movie at all, it's just racism bad. It's not claiming that, well, we believe that black people are committing as a lower percentage in the population. It's not saying it. It just said racism's bad. Dude, this guy needs to chill out, man. This dude needs to like smoke a joint or something. I don't know.
I guess that would be the opposite of a hate crime. I'm just pointing out the reason that the trailer for
Pine Soul, you just asked why are blacks committing so many hate crimes. Quick question. Are you conservative? Are you conservative, right-wing, or independent? What, are you left-wing? Libertarian, okay? Conservative blacks counter, as in my counter for conservative people, using the term blacks, this will now be at, I think, 29. You're 29. I'm going to count ANCAP on the list. So that's at 29 in about a little bit over 2 weeks. We've counted 29 times that a conservative has used the term blacks on this show. Really happening a lot more than I thought it was. Damn, we're going to hit 30 before the week's on. It's crazy. Michael Knowles isn't even being honest here. His own source has 15% of hate crime perps of an unknown race or ethnicity. Most of those, most likely white. Well, I don't know if you'd be able to say if they're most likely white. Huh. Known offenders. Interesting. Okay, back to that though.
Karen is risible. The reason that we're all making fun of it is because while the ruling elites and the liberal establishment tell us that the great problem is white supremacy.
What the hell, is that really my take? I just have this list here. I keep track of every single time a conservative or anyone who's right-leaning, libertarian in that manner uses the term blacks. Because every time I hear the word blacks, it usually does not come with a good take. It is usually, when I hear the term black people, I'm like, okay, let's listen. When I hear the term blacks, I'm bracing for impact because I'm about to hear a really hot take. And so I have, people think I'm joking. This is a legitimate list I have here. This is how many times I've had this used in about 2 weeks. A little bit over 2 weeks. How can you read that chicken scratch on the notepad? Look, it doesn't need to be pretty. Science is not a pretty, you know, category. You know, it's just I'm just doing what I can to document this for science.
Or, you know, LeBron James is telling us black men can't leave their homes without being hunted down by racist whites. We just all know it's not true. It's the furthest thing from the truth. When Merrick Garland, the
black men are more likely to be, I'm pretty sure. What are liberals saying whites? You have that? See, this is the thing, Fine Soul. You're like, I'm not conservative, I'm not that. And just turn into, I have the whites counter. I don't hear people saying whites a lot. And you want to know what? It's ANCAP. Okay, buddy, you're an ANCAP, not a conservative or a libertarian. You're an anarcho-capitalist, which is just an extremist libertarian. But no, I don't have the whites list. You know what? Let's do it. I'll make a whites list for you, just to make you feel better. I'll do it right now. Let's make a whites list, okay? It'll be liberals saying whites, and let's see how it works. You want to know how it's going to work? It's not going to. I will give you $100 if this list, the whites list, is more full by the end of next month. Whites counter. $100. Now, we're not going to start today because everybody's going to remember it. We're going to have to start a different day.
The Attorney General comes out and says, the greatest threat to us in America, the terroristic threat, is white supremacy. We just know that's ridiculous. It's just absolutely.
It isn't ridiculous, though. The vast majority of terror attacks in the United States are committed by far-right extremists. That's what the majority, or at least the plurality of the attacks are being committed by. If you look at FBI, Department of Homeland Security, all of these organizations, all the terror reports, domestic, internal, classified, and unclassified, clearly show that the majority of domestic terror threats come from the far right. Where we got a lot more Timothy McVeighs than Weather Undergrounds in the United States. That's just a fact. The number one threat that I think that the number one threat I saw was, first, violence based on race, and number two was militias. Now, there's not a lot of far left militias, and as far as I know, there's not a lot of majority black militias, like black people, right? And militias to arm black people. I haven't seen that. There are. Those exist, but there's not a majority of those. There isn't. There's not the same percentage. So I don't think when we hear militia being the second list, just caught a guy 2 days ago in Atlanta. It literally doesn't fucking matter, okay? There's not one anecdote that you can produce that's going to match up with statistical evidence, okay? If that's the case, and I believe the biggest threat to America is, I don't know, furry extremism, because I can give you an anecdote of a furry that once punched a guy because he said, like, furry suck or something. Like, what do you mean? Personal... God, man, I got to forget that chat exists and just keep watching the video and respond to it. But no, the FBI reports, Department of Homeland Security, classified reports, unclassified reports, public documents produced, statistical evidence all seems to point the majority terror threat when it comes to domestic extremism comes from the far right. There's no evidence, statistical or otherwise, they can put out. Now, there's a thing in your head of, well, I saw this footage where somebody in Antifa, and they're not in Antifa, but somebody doing black bloc, I would assume. Not an Antifa member, those don't exist. An Antifa went out and punched a guy, and that's real bad. That's real terrible. But you watching a piece of footage is not statistics. You watching footage is not a cross-referenced report. Those aren't the same things. That's just confirmation bias. If I wanted to back up everything I believed, I could easily just go on Reddit, go to the top whatever left-wing subreddit and just show you the top post and be like, look at all this footage of, I don't know, cops doing this, or far-right protesters doing that, or far-right militias doing this. And then boom. I don't do that, though. Instead, I'll cite extremism reports. We just had one published, literally, like, not even, we just had one that was, like, put into the public because of a Freedom of Information request recently, that there was a huge kerfluffle around because it listed, I think there was, like, anarchist violence as one of the type of domestic violent extremisms that existed. But if you actually read the entire report, and it's not a long report, it's literally only 4 pages. I just read it. If you read the report, it clearly states that the top threat facing the United States is far-right extremism. We can go read this right now. From the FBI and CIA? It's not only just from the FBI and CIA. The thing is, I don't just base it off of one institution, right? Here's another thing that I can talk about. What about in the military? In the military, we've seen for years increase. Okay, Pine doesn't care. For years, we've seen in the military that the percentage of military members who see white supremacy and extremism tied to that is increasing. That's based off of not some magical FBI statistic. That's based off of polling of active military service members. That's from the Military Times if you want to look that up. Look, so it's the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, our public representatives of the military saying it's becoming a bigger issue. We've got their own military service members themselves thinking it's an issue. I don't know. Maybe you think all of the military soldiers, the actual fighters, the people who go in the trenches and do the combat, maybe they're far left extremists. Maybe all the statisticians who say it's mostly far right extremism, maybe they're just all woke. Literally every single respectable institution or person you could trust on an issue like this, they've all just gone woke. It's ridiculous. People just want to deny the threat of far right extremism in this country as a domestic terror threat. They're the type of people that when Timothy McVeigh blew up the bus, they would have been saying, or blew up the van, I don't see anything. What anti-government extremism? I don't know what you're talking about. They would have been covering your eyes.
Absolutely preposterous. It is not true. And if you want to solve problems of racial division, if you want to solve problems of crime, which is spiking in cities around the country, you need to be able to diagnose what is really going on, right? The first step to solving a problem is admitting that you have a problem. And our culture will not do that. I think this is actually part and parcel of this broader alienation of common sense Americans of all races, of all stripes, of all appearances, from the group of silly mediocrities that are pretending.
Remember, the reason why he's saying all this is because he watched a movie trailer, which message was, even if it wasn't a good movie, racism bad.
To be the ruling class. Hands up, don't nuke. That is the subject of the entire show. I'm glad you liked that clip.
What? I don't even want to know what the hell he's talking about. I don't even want to investigate. That's enough of that. Oh my God. Next, we're on Cuck. Cuck is a 2019 American thriller film. A loner who lives with his possessive mother is deemed unfit for military service due to his history of mental instability, petty crime. Retreating into the world of extremist internet groups, creates a vlog channel from which he decries what he describes as the downfall of real America. Meanwhile, prompted by sexual frustration, he agrees to play the role of a cuckold in a couple's homemade amateur pornography. He buys an unregistered handgun and begins to spend time at firing ranges. He meets his online idol, a charismatic leader of the alt-right. However, when his identity as a cuck emerges, his macho persona is destroyed. Facing online shammy, he takes his solace in his gun, which he regards as the only symbol of masculinity he has left. That is a ridiculous plot for a movie. Sounds funny as hell. Where were we? Okay, now we'll just watch Ben Shapiro react to it because apparently this is big news these days.
Came across a trailer for a brand new movie titled Karen, and I have to share it with you. There's just no way for me to keep this much artistic ability, this much joy, this much power to myself. Behold.
I guess this is a long way from East Point.
Baby, you just gotta give it a chance.
Tell me about your new neighbors. They're black.
Okay, pause it right there for a second. I'm sorry. They first of all, they owe Jordan Peele royalties. Like right away, they owe Jordan Peele royalties, right? What is this creepy place? Oh, you mean it's just regular suburbia? First of all, everybody needs to pay Stepford Wives creators royalties for every single movie that has ever been done that's like this. Second of all, it's just so on the nose. Like at least Get Out. It's not subtle, but it's not like hitting you.
Nothing Ben Shapiro's saying right now is wrong. Everything he's saying so far is right.
In the face with the sledgehammer. In the first 15 seconds of this trailer, first 15 seconds, you know what this entire movie is. They have a new neighbor. So here's the thing about Get Out. It's supposed to be taking place in this sort of quasi-realistic universe. This one is like, is it supposed to live in creepy, not quite real land, or is it supposed to be super realistic? Because as you'll see, they never exactly explain, like there's nothing supernatural happening. Like the whole point of Get Out is there's all this supernatural weirdness going on, like except
I don't think the movie at any point the trailer at no point mentioned supernatural beings. I think for all we're supposed to imagine as realistic real land, because what's the big weapons of the Karen monster? She put up cameras, and she shoved over their trash can. If they're shoving over trash cans, then I personally, if I was directing the movie, I'd cut out the trash can shoving and replace it with ghosts if it was going to be supernatural in any manner.
Stepford Wives, there's nothing supernatural in this trailer. The whole trailer is just a creepy white lady who hates black people and is supposed to be a stand-in for all white people or something. There's no one in America.
Okay, back up. I don't think it was a stand-in for all white people. You could easily, that's just you projecting, if anything. It could easily just be a stand-in for just racist people. There are racist people that exist, right? We all acknowledge, I think, if we're all living in reality, that racist people do exist. So it could just be a stand-in for racist people.
Who thinks like this, particularly not white suburban ladies. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Do you mind keeping it down? If you don't comply, I'll tell the manager.
Somebody's taking home
It is
security
funny.
serious.
Hi, I am Karen Drexler. I'm your neighbor.
The thing is, things like this could have been creepier if it was acted much better and didn't feel almost comical. It almost felt like an SNL. This almost feels like an extended SNL skit. That's what this feels like. This feels like an SNL skit that took itself too seriously. That's exactly what this is. This whole movie, the problem with this movie is it feels like an SNL skit that took itself way too seriously.
Trash cans off the curb right when the trash.
How is this not an SNL sketch? I'm sorry.
Ben Shapiro, I'll never say this again, ever. But we're connected right now, okay? We're connected, and we've developed this connection. And for one moment in time, a blissful moment, we were both geniuses.
How is that not an SNL sketch? They have this lady who's playing it super over the top. And you've got the one high note on the piano. Ding, ding. Oh my God, it's so creepy. And she trained her cameras on their house, which, by the way, I'm not sure if that's super legal or not. If you just train your cameras on somebody else's home. I don't actually know what the legal standard there is because...
Well, it would be bad. She is supposed to be the villain, so that would be a villainous thing to do. And I think it's legal. I have no reason to believe it's illegal.
Guess you're in public, kind of? Also, she's not clever at all. She's apparently the stupidest racist in all the land. Here are the two
most racists are not that intelligent.
Examples we have of her being the dumbest racist ever. Number one, she's at a restaurant. A black guy is laughing. And she says she's going to report the black guy to the manager for laughing too loud. Now, I just have a question. Is there a manager of a restaurant anywhere in America who would go up to a black person and be like, you're laughing too loud, and that white lady doesn't like it? Second thing, she's like,
I do think so. The thing is, noise complaints is a real thing. I've had my own, where we're not being that loud, but noise complaints are thrown at me, or I remember my father getting noise complaints all the time. Again, we're not black and we're white as hell, and we got noise complaints. I'm sure black people can also get noise complaints. So yeah, it does happen.
You need to roll back your trash can.
Is that really that's not a crazy demand, or a crazy thing that needs extraordinary evidence. The idea that people get noise complaints for ridiculous things. There's a lot of stuck-up people in the world who will throw noise complaints up at the slightest increase in volume whatsoever.
Afterward, your trash can. No one is getting arrested for that. No.
Well, I don't think she called the... Did she threaten to call the cops over the trash can, or am I misremembering? I think she just walked up to them and asked them to do that. And I've had that happen to me before, where I forgot to do that, and my neighbor, and my old neighbors were not... I don't want to get too much, but... They people would come out and be like, Dylan, it's been, 3 hours since the garbage man came by. Could you please bring it back? That happens. Yeah, stuck-up people do that all the time. That isn't a crazy scenario.
No one. This is her big threatening moment. All white people are like this. Let me tell you, we love rules so damn much that if you don't roll...
I don't think it said all white people are like this. It's just this one particular person in this movie. There's a commentary on, I guess, other racists. Unless you are declaring yourself to be a racist, this shouldn't really be that offensive to you.
Your trash can back, within the next 5 minutes after the garbage truck comes by, we will come over to your house and threaten you.
Garbage day! No!
That's the kind of lawlessness we white people simply will not abide. Let's continue with this. It is the worst.
Determinants of domestic terrorism, an examination of ethnic polarization and economic development. Many scholars have sought to explain why countries with ethnically heterogeneous populations experience high levels of political violence, but these studies have produced mixed findings. Like most studies that use ethno-linguistic fractionalization indices to examine this relationship, we argue that ethnic polarization is a more appropriate measure to assess the role of ethnicity as a causal factor of domestic terrorism. This paper hypothesizes that ethnic polarization influences the incidence of domestic terrorism, particularly when intervening economic factors are present. To test three hypotheses, we used negative binomial regression to model data from the Global Terrorism Data Bank, World Bank, and Renal Quadrille ethnic polarization index of 116 countries between 1970 and 2012. Our findings show that terrorism is more likely to emerge in societies with high ethnic polarization and economic malaise. Therefore, the United States right now. Okay.
Worst trailer I have ever seen. My goodness.
Wait a minute. We have a white entitled neighbor named Karen.
Karen.
Oh no.
There she is, slaving away in the kitchen. I've come across some very
Stop it. Oh my God, stop it. It's so funny. Okay, and so first of all,
I don't know if the comment slaving away in the kitchen is exactly funny, but that's one way to look at it.
well, it's hilarious. We have a white entitled neighbor named, let me guess, Karen. So here's where the left gets so anti-racist, they're just racist, right? White ladies named Karen have to be like super racist. We're gonna make a whole movie about white ladies named Karen because there are actual white ladies named, and she walks in, she's like, here's my subtle pun. Are you ready? Here's my racist subtle pun. There you are, slaving away in the kitchen. And everybody's like, ooh, like what? Who wrote this dialogue? A toddler? Like that's your clever pun?
I don't think it was supposed to be a clever pun. I think it was supposed to be pretty direct. The whole problem with this movie is a lack of subtlety. I feel like if that just was like something that kind of passed by in the middle of the movie and it was a lot more subtle and you kind of maybe saw like the woman in the kitchen just kind of go like, okay, then it would have been a lot better, would have hit better. But the problem with this whole movie is the lack of subtlety that makes every little thing like someone just hit a gong.
Seriously? She's like, what year were you born in? 1619? Like, what?
They respected me for saying it.
Seriously, if you're just gonna be this obvious about it, just be obvious about it. But my goodness, with a sledgehammer gang.
I've come across some very suspecting teenagers.
Suspecting?
Can you please hurry up? Please, they're very aggressive, yep.
I left my wallet with my ID at home. Leave us alone, we didn't do anything!
How the heck did you end up moving to this neighborhood? Next thing you know, we have criminals. You take care of him, and I will take care of her.
Would you mind stepping out of the car?
Okay, pause it for a second. First of all, I love that it's like all these teenagers were filming her, and she called the cops, and then all the teenagers get arrested for apparently no reason at all. But what, walking without ID?
Well, the thing is, that is a great freeze frame of Ben Shapiro right there. Oh my God, that is a perfect freeze frame. That is an emote, okay? That is an emote in the making right there. But the thing is, a lot of times interactions start off like that, where you're not doing anything illegal, but then the cops are called, and then the cops come, and the cops are like, hey, can we speak to you? And then the person will be like, well, I don't want to speak to you. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. And it's from that friction right there that arrests start getting made, because then eventually it'll be something like you're disturbing the peace, or you're violating with like whatever the hell we're trying to do here, or some trumped up nonsense, right? Some idea like you're not complying or something along those lines, and then or loitering, yeah, something like that. Because once that initial friction is made, then a lot of people, in the position of power, in their mind is going to be like, okay, what can I get them for right now? Maybe loitering, disturbing the peace. Trying to stop me from, what's the thing, not stopping from justice, something of justice, like something, I forget the exact call, obstruction. Yeah, obstruction is the big one. Obstruction of justice is going to be one of those things. It's just trumped up charges. So it isn't necessarily that they didn't break the law and then the cops came and said, you're under arrest for being black. It's not that simple. It's they go there and then an interaction happens where they're like, sir, can you stop by? Can I see your ID? Can I see some ID? And they're like, I don't want to give you my ID. I don't have to give you my ID. And then from there, they start looking for something to get them on. That's usually what happens when somebody is like unjustly like arrested or put in cuffs. Or, you kind of fit a description.
Confused? Also, she's very pissed at trash cans. This lady hates two things more than anything else. Black people and trash cans. Hates them. Despises black people and trash cans. She's like, you know, if they move in, crime will follow. No one thinks like this. Okay, if a black family...
There are people who think like that. There are people who think that when black people move in, it'll hurt the housing value, it'll bring in crime, it'll bring in drugs. This is due to stereotypes that are tied to the black community. This is why redlining existed. The whole institution of redlining was built partially on this very premise. Yes, there are people who think like that. That redlining isn't like this thing of ancient past. This is something that was happening into the 70s. There are people still alive today who enacted redlining policies. Do you think those people who enacted redlining policies, who perpetuated redlining policies, who defended redlining policies, might have some messed up views in their head when it comes to black people and crime? How's this for an emote? Oh my god, that is an emote. Okay, that will be made an emote before next stream. I love it. I love that.
Family moves in to an upper crust white neighborhood, and these houses are enormous. No one is like, you know who's coming? The gangs. Like, what in the world is this? By polling data, this does not exist in the United States. The number of Americans who say...
There is a lot of people who actually... Well, maybe not a lot, but I'm trying to think, I don't know what percentage. I don't have no percentages on this, but there were people who thought that Antifa, due to like all the news around Antifa and how Antifa is portrayed, that Antifa was going to march into your suburbs and tear it to the ground, burn it to the ground, take off your American flag off your porch and burn it. That was never going to happen. Antifa doesn't hang out in the suburbs. They just don't. It's not exactly their hood, okay? But due to media perception, some people believe that. Just due to the stereotypes or how Antifa is perceived as this encroaching force that's gonna, I don't know, take your baby away or whatever.
That they are happy living next to a person of a different race in the United States is higher than any other industrialized country by Pew polling data. Okay, continue this nonsense.
My office has uncovered some disturbing information on her and her brother.
Her brother.
She doesn't like black people.
We have a search warrant.
Well, I'm black.
I know, she doesn't like you either.
Okay, pause it right there. In case you missed the message.
The thing that gets me is that child is the best actor in the whole movie. When that child said that, that was the only time in the whole movie where I felt like I kind of believed it. That child is actually the best actor. She delivered the line perfectly. Hello. Hi. Good one, okay? I will go to sleep early, I promise. Okay, I won't go to sleep before in the morning. I'm gonna go to sleep before in the morning. Didn't hear anything. God. I gotta do my video. I need to do my video. Let me work.
It's like when like your parents are like walking out of the room and you're like muttering under your breath like, I'm gonna stay up so late.
Let me work. Let me work. Come on, woman. I need to work. I gotta work. Yeah, I gotta be the breadwinner. Exactly. Our traditional family.
Did you miss the message for the first 2 minutes of the trailer? Because this creepy little girl will tell you the message. And I love the black lady's response, and it's like, but I'm black. Yeah, we know. And also, you're speaking to a child. And then the child's like, yeah, she doesn't like you. What did you think the child was going to say? Oh, yeah, but she loves you. Hates black people, loves you, though. I mean, really. After she's like having people arrested. And I love that she has a creepy cop brother. And the creepy cop brother is doing all of her bidding. Man, oh man, this trailer is just like, even if you're woke, you got to be looking at this and you got to be like, man, how is this possibly not a parody? How? This is a mainstream big budget flick. How?
I want to sell the house.
What I do? You can't tell me, huh?
We are living next
Oh my God.
A racist. You went in her house?
You wouldn't want your wife to know our little secret, right?
Okay, pause it for a second. Like, so she sneaked into their house and put, I'm not kidding you, a soap dispenser with a Confederate flag on it. She didn't get it from Amazon. You can't buy anything with a Confederate flag on it from Amazon.
I don't know if she sneaked into her house. I didn't see anything that hinted that she snuck into that. I mean, maybe. I have no clue. I thought maybe that he was in her house and then found the Confederate flag. I don't know.
But she somehow, like, went back to 1932 and found a soap dispenser with a Confederate flag on it.
It is not that difficult to buy Confederate flags on the internet. Just because you can't get it off of Amazon, you can get it off an independent website still.
On it. And planted it in the black people's house.
That's the evilest thing I can imagine.
That's her plan. And I love, she's like, we live next door to a racist. Now, here's the thing. This whole thing actually actively undercuts the entire systemic racism shtick, right? The entire systemic racism shtick is that the systems are racist. You're not particularly racist. We don't know if you're racist or not, like not in the tradition.
Wait, no, this doesn't undercut anything. God, can't we just have a moment where like, Lamau, this movie's stupid, and then move on? Like, it just looks like a bad movie. No, it doesn't undercut anything, because people can be individually racist and have an individually racist campaign, right? Like, for example, if I didn't like my neighbors because they were part of a certain minority group, and I just made a bunch of calls to the police, I harassed them, I like did racist graffiti, I on an individual level can be racist, and then systems can be perpetuating racism at the same time. Somebody just linked a Confederate flag product in chat, I think, to prove me right. But I'm on Twitch. I cannot show that on stream. But I think you can all imagine what it looks like.
Sense, and that doesn't matter. When we say this is on the nose, we mean this is like on the Pinocchio nose. Like there are not noses large enough for this to actually fit upon them. This is so on the nose.
What do we have here? When you got a hammer, everything looks like nails.
You people are very angry.
Shut your mouth, boy.
Bad things happen to people that don't comply.
Karen. Bad things happen to people who don't comply. Wow. Wow. And it's called Karen. That's amazing. Like, I gotta admit, that's incredible. If that had been just a sketch on SNL making fun of Get Out, it would have been amazing. But it's an actual film. Like, there's 2 hours of that. I'm gonna have to do some sort of live watch of this, right? Like, there's no way around it. We're gonna have to do like a live stream of me just watching this film, because now I kind of want to see it. I'll be honest with you. This is so bad.
Why would this be a parody of Get Out, though? Get Out was actually good.
Actually a masterpiece of how bad a movie trailer can be. Was this directed by Tommy Wiseau? Like, what? There has to be a trick here.
Gary Koch.
It can't be real.
I forget his name.
Or is it? Alrighty, folks, there you have it, Karen.
Okay. So anyway, Karen is just like a movie that is not like amazing. It doesn't look good. It looks like a cringe movie. Not really good acting. Probably not good directing. But it's not making a deeper political message about all white women are racist, or how all white people are racist, or how are this or that. It's just a cringe movie. Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro really overreacted in some of the parts here. Can't you just say like Lamau cringe and just move on? God.